Just holding workshops or meetings, forums, sort of one-off events that bring people, a larger group of people together to gather information, share information, possibly bring in experts. And when you think about that prospect, are there any topics that you think would be useful to have that kind of a workshop or meeting about? That would be beneficial.
Science unfolding there. So you're getting a broad audience and getting everyone on the same page with the options. I very much see the science being put into that. I think with all these various groups and the interests, I'm not sure if I see a usefulness for a big group like that to actually accomplish much.
With the Central Coast Resource Management Planning process, there were so many people that needed to meet that they would meet in Richmond or Port Hardy, and not us people that live here were excluded. If we don't have the time and the money to go there, then our voice doesn't get heard. So if you're going to have more inclusive meetings, I really believe they have to be on the Central Coast so that we can go.
And we talked about representation before you got here. And the model of representation was suggested was in the advisory committee was communities of the Central Coast getting together locally with some support, coordination, and financial support to come together, and then identify representatives to go and participate in this advisory committee, which is intended to meet all over the PNCIMA area in different locations. Anything else with respect to workshops or meeting that come up, that comes to mind in terms of what would be valuable from a Bella Coola perspective?
It's only my opinion. I'm sure there are more about
it. I think people would help.
Go ahead.
I'm sure that as you go through this, you're finding the same types of issues in all the different communities. And I think from maybe our perspective, which doesn't seem to always have a lot of great turnout, having groups of the same interest as a larger working group getting together and discussing all the issues on a larger scale, from a larger scale geographically and from every other aspect, that would probably be beneficial, because we'll hear, or Hardy will hear, input and ideas from other areas that we might not necessarily think of. So I can see there might be a larger ability to integrate one sort of a larger strategy or approach to the issue, rather than having a working group here that's totally isolated from Port Hardy, from Campbell River, from Prince River, from Idaho.
So like a coastal communities forum.
Well, forum that's dealing, you'll probably get a lot better, critical mass and a lot better output, rather than just having them individually somewhat isolated.
Maybe if you have a number of issues and you want to bring them together for a workshop, give them some information, and then actually make it a working session where you're not necessarily always sitting with your community, you're mixed with others. I think that you might be able to pull some answers to some of the issues you want to address. So an actual workshop, it's a workshop.
People sort of have to have some sort of...
There's guidance for the workshop.
Yeah, but the types of decisions that are being made, or the types of decisions that they'll be implementing. So, unless you have something specific to look at, right, and say, okay, so what are we talking about here? Are we talking about what areas have to be protected, right? And from what, for what are the types of decisions, Okay, so we say tanker traffic or shipping. Okay, so
what about it?
What about it? What types of decisions? What we don't want the boats to go, or what they're doing when they're traveling through, or like what are the things that we are concerned about, and what are the decisions that could be made? What influence is it going to have? Is there going to be legislation?
In terms of reference, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Develop terms of reference for for the working group board. Because that's what we did at PNCIMA, I think.
Right.
First thing is we established our terms of reference, and then we decided how to approach that. So that narrowed it down so the process is more workable. I think, like Harvey's a member of, or represents Newhook on the Sportfish Advisory Board, and they have terms of reference, and that process works fairly well. You know, for instance, with the commercial crab fishery, local people here that just fish them recreationally and in Newhook are concerned about it because Fisheries and Oceans Canada can't tell us how many crabs there are, whether there's enough to be harvested at the levels where they could be harvested or are being harvested. So those two groups on the advisory board are kind of on side. There's a little bit more skepticism from the commercial lodges and the commercial operators. But when they have the North Coast meeting, they have it in Richmond, Prince Rupert, only the chair or his designate goes from Lobelco, and sometimes what's said at the meetings doesn't get put into the process. And that's the concern there. If we do have terms of reference, then who's going to carry that forward? Like, for instance, economic development. What would we want to see? We would want to see sustainable development because we live here. Do you know, according to an economist who did a survey, if you use $1963, $30 billion worth of forest products came off the Central Coast up to 1996. If you use $96, it was $60 billion. Do we have a recreation center? All the trees are gone. Our economy's toast. I think we would want to avoid that in the future. That would be one of the mandates, I would hope. Because this is suggesting, what I think PNCIMA is suggesting is that we've got to keep things healthy until they are at a stage where we can say, well, yeah, maybe we can take a little bit. Maybe we can share it. But we're a long ways from doing that right now. In fact, right now, what we're really talking about is protecting it before it's all gone.
Sound like some First Nations people. We've been saying that for quite a while now, and we want to ensure that besides protect, we want to enhance and bring it back right across the board. Hopefully, this process is going to bring that down the line somewhere down the road. So, a couple of things I wanted to mention was in regards to Ken being so bold to come out and say what he did say in regards to there's no separation between the non-native and the native. Make some clarification on that because there has been separation between native and non-native, and it shows has shown over time in terms of our employment numbers in our community. So, and then once the resources are gone, I guess some people felt how we've been feeling over time in regards to employment, the high number of employment. So, in terms of economic opportunities, there's a boom and bust. It's the boom's here, and now it's the bust time coming. So, the economic opportunity is hurting both sides of the table, hurting everybody on the Central Coast. And I heard something else about maybe the Central Coast Regional District that you people would be able to come